What's up now?
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Thank you. You're welcome. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.
Sitaram, Lakshman, Hanuman ki jai.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Pavita Pavana Sitaram, Raghupati Raghava Rajaram, Pavita Pavana Sitaram, Sitaram Jayo, Sitaram, Sitaram Jayo, Sitaram, 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 Sitaram Jayo, Sitaram, Sitaram, Sitaram,
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Piši Gorane, tajki, džaj! Kako ono?
Ragupati.
Ne, samo džaj, kako ide?
Koji džaj?
Sitaram, Lakšmana, kako?
Aha, to. Sitaram, džaj.
Samo da kažemo džaj. Da naboriš da kažemo džaj.
Sitaram, Lakšman, Hanuman, ki?
Džaj! Okej. Sad predavim.
Bhakti, evo, sad će predavanje o Ramayani, volio bih gospodina Ramaša i Dhanesvara pravopatni učenik, puno iskustva, da čujemo što je.
Using the microphone.
Because there are people
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Bhakti ima puno mjesta ovdje unutra, pa predlažem da oni koji ne razumiju engleski sjednu kod vrata, ja ću prevoditi tamo.
Before you bring that in, let me...
A ja, okej. Brižemo, poslije stavite mikrofon.
You're not using it. Using it or no?
So, no, I will put just more, something is wrong.
I like it like this. Should it face more that way? Come here, tablet. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Bhajana Vallabha Girivara Jana Vallabha Girivarari Jana Vallabha Girivarari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Ramona Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha
Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagapate Gopika Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagapate Gopika Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gauranga Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Shabanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Tapta Kanchana Gauranga Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Shabanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchakampatarubhyasha Kripa Sindhubhyaevacha Paditana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Panchakampatarubhyasha Kripa Sindhubhyaevacha Paditana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Sapada Vijakacharya Sutta Sri Sriman His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava ki Acharya Salarda Sukur ki Prem Se Gautra Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Raita Garan Harshivasada Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki Sri Shivara Govinda Gop Gopinath Shamakunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan ki Indamadam ki Shimai Purnavadip Dam ki Yamunamai ki Gangamai ki Bhakti Devi ki Tulsi Maharani ki Shri Shri Gaurnitai ki Shri Shri Sitaram Maha Mahotsava ki Sitaram Maha Mahotsava ki Sitaram Maha Mahotsava ki Nitai Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the Sum of devotees. All glories to the Sum of devotees. All glories to the Sum of devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Hare Krishna, Sitaram, Lakshman Hanuman ki. So all of you Prabhus who are sitting there, come very close because there's going to be others coming later and we're going to need the real estate. Come on, keep going, fill all the space.
Približite se malo naprijed, jer oni koji budu kasnije dolazili da imaju mjesto.
The idea is leave some space back there so they can come in without disturbing everybody. In the green shirt, right there. Come on. I won't bite. Thank you very much. Okay. Today is a wonderful appearance day of Ram Raj, Ramachandra, the ideal king. So, in the second canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, there's one chapter titled Scheduled Incarnations with Specific Functions. Can you hear me back there? It's okay? All right. Scheduled incarnations with specific... Oh, closer? Is that better? Okay. Scheduled incarnations with specific functions. And there it lists all of the different incarnations of the Lord that are discussed in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And of course, within that list is the appearance of Lord Ramachandra. So I'm going to start with reading from there. And then, of course, a very brief explanation of Ramachandra's pastimes is given in the 9th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So we'll gradually work our way over there. So this is 2nd canto, chapter 7, text number 23. Translation. Due to his causeless mercy upon all living entities within the universe, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, along with his plenary expansions, appeared in the family of Maharaj Ikshvaku as the Lord of his internal potency, Sita. Under the order of his father, Maharaj Dasarath, he entered the forest and lived there for considerable years with his wife and younger brother. Ravana, who is very materially powerful, with 10 heads on his shoulders, committed a great offense against him and thus was ultimately vanquished. So this is a rather long purport. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but we'll start with that. Lord Rama is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and his brothers, namely Bharat, Lakshman, and Shatrugna, are his plenary expansions. All 4 brothers are Vishnu Tattva and were never ordinary human beings. There are many unscrupulous and ignorant commentators on Ramayana who present the younger brothers of Lord Ramachandra as ordinary living entities. But here in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the most authentic scripture on the science of Godhead, it is clearly stated that his brothers were plenary expansions. Originally, Lord Ramachandra is the incarnation of Vasudeva. Lakshman is the incarnation of Sankarshan. Bharat is the incarnation of Pradyumna. and Shatrugna is the incarnation of Aniruddha, expansions of the personality of Godhead. Lakshmiji Sita is the internal potency of the Lord and is neither an ordinary woman nor the external potency incarnation of Durga. Durga is the external potency of the Lord, and she is associated with Lord Shiva. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita 4.7, the Lord appears when there is a discrepancy in the discharge of factual religion. Lord Ramachandra also appeared under the same circumstances, accompanied by his brothers, who are expansions of the Lord's internal potency, and by Lakshmi Sita Devi. Lord Ramachandra was ordered by his father Maharaj Dasarath to leave home for the forest under awkward circumstances, and the Lord, as the ideal son of his father, carried out the order even on the occasion of his being declared the king of Ayodhya. One of his younger brothers, Lakshmanji, desired to go with him, and so also his eternal wife, Sitaji, desired to go with him. The Lord agreed to both of them, and altogether they entered the Dandakaranya forest to live there for 14 years. During the stay in the forest, there was some quarrel between Ramchandra and Ravana, and the latter kidnapped Lord's wife Sita. The quarrel ended in vanquishing of the greatly powerful Ravana, along with his kingdom and family. Om Ganata Marandasya Gananjana Shlakaya Chakshin Militamina Tasman Shigurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Upakadamayam Dadati Swavadantikam. So recently there was a great celebration in India. You may know that the birthplace of Ramachandra was established again, and there was a great, wonderful celebration there. You can see the temple on, you can see that whole ceremony on YouTube, and pictures of the temple and so on. So this is, everybody in India was very enthusiastic for this, because they want what's called Ram Raj, which means the ideal king. So Lord Ramachandra, he appeared, Krishna, he came as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the other incarnations, again, as that chapter says, they come with specific functions. So Lord Ramachandra, his function was to show what it means to be an ideal king. And so this is referred to as Ram Raj. And how many have read Ramayana? Oh, okay, so you all mostly know the story. This is a wonderful, wonderful book. In English, Srila Prabhupada, he authorized us to read the translation by Kamala Subramanian. I don't know what you have for translations, but anyway, that's the one that Prabhupada recommended for us. And it's somewhat abridged, but it's still about 400 pages or so. Wonderful, wonderful story. I read it probably 1982, I think, if I remember right. And when I was reading it, I fell in love with Ramachandra. Because he's such an ideal personality, you can't help but love him. And I was feeling a little bad. I was thinking, oh, wait a minute, I'm trying to be a devotee of Krishna, but I'm falling in love with Ramachandra. But it's you know, the story is so wonderful, because why? Ramachandra, he is the ideal person who is completely devoted to Dharma. And regardless of whatever cost to himself personally, he doesn't even consider that. And of course, the story, as you know, goes that his father was one time in the battle, and he was saved by his younger wife, Kaikeyi. And is that right? Kaikeyi, right? Yeah. And so he offered her 2 boons. And she said, well, I don't really want anything right now. I'll wait till later when I want something. So later, of course, Ramachandra was the eldest of the four sons, and Bharat was the youngest. And so when it came time for Ram's coronation, the nurse of Bharat, who turned out to be a rather, what can you say, selfish lady, she wanted, because she was very attached to Bharat, she wanted Bharat to be crowned the king. And so she was practitioner of the black arts to some degree, and by that she gained influence over Kaikeyi and convinced Kaikeyi that she should take the boons that Dasarath had offered her and request that Bharat be installed as the king. And so this happened right either the day of or the day before the coronation. And of course, everyone was devastated, including Bharat. Everyone was completely devastated by this. But Maharaj Dasarath, being a man of his word and a follower of Dharma, he was bound to fulfill his promise to his wife. So she asked for the two boons, one that her son Bharat be installed as the Yuvaraj, and the other that Ramachandra be banished to the forest for 14 years. So everyone was devastated by this except Ramachandra. And he, without any hesitation, said, yes, I must not prevent my father from going to heaven by not keeping his word, so I'll very gladly go to the forest for 14 years. Lakshman, however, was furious and he was so enraged he was ready to kill Dasarath and ready to kill anybody who would get in the way. He said, I'll kill half the kingdom if I have to if they're going to get in the way of installing Ramachandra on the throne. But Ramachandra cooled him down, and then Lakshman, he said, okay, well, then you must let me go to the forest with you. Then Ramachandra went to see his wife, Sita Devi. She had not yet gotten word of all this palace intrigue. He went to see her, and when he came in the room, he was not wearing his habitual pleasant smile that he always had. Especially when he would see her, he always had a smile on his face. And so right away, Sita Devi, she knew something was up, something's wrong here. And she asked him, what's going on? And he said, well, I'm sorry, I have to fulfill my father's promise, and I'm going to have to go to the forest for 14 years, but you stay here, no trouble, I'll be back, don't worry about me. And she, of course, Sita Devi, she's the son of a warrior. And so she had Kshatriya spirit. And she right immediately was chastising Ramachandra. What are you talking about? You know what Dharma is. You can't ask me not to follow Dharma. The Dharma of a woman is to follow her husband, regardless of the circumstances. So I'm going with you. She also did not hesitate to go to the forest. She said, I'll go in front of you and I'll pick up all the thorns out of the path so that your lotus feet are not bruised or picked with the thorns. Now bear in mind, in the 9th canto, it says that the lotus feet of Ramachandra were so soft and tender that practically he could not bear the touch of Sita Devi's palms. And so he's going to go to the forest for 14 years like that. So she said, no, I can't let you do that. I'm going to go in front of you. I'm going to clear the path so you have a nice, easy way to walk. So it's a wonderful, wonderful pastime full of intrigue, much like the Mahabharata. Of course, it's considered equal, or let's say of the same stature of Mahabharata, one of the two principal great epics of Indian literature, the Mahabharata and Ramayana. And why? Because there's so many twists and turns, and the question is Dharma. How are we going to follow Dharma, and at what cost do we follow Dharma? So this is always discussed, and this is why everybody loves Ram, because he's so dedicated. Without hesitation, he will follow Dharma at any cost. Completely selfless. Completely selfless. So this is a wonderful, wonderful story. What to speak of then later on, the whole intrigue. Shall we go through the story more? Yeah? Okay. Then I'm going to read a little bit about that part leading up to. This is from Subramanian's Ramayana. And this is one, it's a short chapter. It's called Ram's Firmness. Is it okay if I read?
Yeah.
Okay. So the chapter in the chapter before this, his mother was crying her eyes out, begging him not to go. And so this is where we pick up the story. The piteous words of Kaushalya would have made anyone else relent, but not Rama. Like an elephant which walks without concern, even when torches are lit by men to impede his progress, Rama, with his mind firmly set on the path of Dharma.
Excuse me, could you a little slower?
A little slower, okay. Rama, with his mind firmly set on the path of Dharma, refused to be moved by the tears of his mother. He was the one person who was capable of talking to his mother, who was almost demented because of excessive grief, and to Lakshman, whose throat was dry with anger. Rama spoke again. Lakshman, you know me so well, and I know you too, since we are but two aspects of the same truth. How is it that you do not understand my devotion to Dharma? Simple rules of conduct have been set down by man by elders of yore. Believe in their teachings implicitly. Man should devote himself to Dharma and only to Dharma. One who sets his mind instead on acquiring artha, wealth, becomes an object of the censure of the wise. The third man, who is lost in kama, the other path, is not even worthy of praise. If, however, a man follows the path of Dharma, set down in the Shastras, artha, kama, and moksha will follow as natural sequel to one's actions. Our Father has all these years been famed for his great good qualities, for his righteousness, and for his knowledge of the Vedas and the Shastras. Such a man commands me to do what is not pleasing to you. I will not seek the reason which prompted him to command me in this way. Maybe he is angry with me. Maybe he is unhappy about something, or pleased about something else. It is no matter. I am the last person to question his actions and the motives behind him. I have no right to, nor have you. I have only to obey his commands. He has promised this to Kaikeyi, and it is up to me to help him keep his word. He is the very image of Dharma, and you and I and Mother too must listen to his words and act accordingly. Mother, when such a man is alive, how can you say that you will come with me to the forest? Mother, grant me leave so that I may go. Grant me leave to go so that I will be able to fulfill my father's promise. Give me your blessings and I will come back after the term of the exile is complete. This kingdom and ruling it are not so important that I should sacrifice my good name for it. When compared with each other and the rewards of the one, when compared with each other, the rewards of the one are so inferior and paltry, while the other leads me straight to heavens and grants me immortal fame. Mother, you must let me go. Rama tried to convince the two about the righteousness of his decision to go to the Dandaka forest. He made a pradakshina to his mother. Lakshman, however, refused to be convinced or comforted. Rama looked at his brother, who was still fuming with anger. His eyes were red with anger, and his sighs were like that of the hissing of a king cobra. Lakshman was so fond of his brother that he could not brook this injustice done to him, and all the words of Rama would not convince him. Rama touched his head with love and said, Lakshman, forget this wrath. Do not give in to this confusion in your mind. Rise above the level of ordinary men and be tranquil under the circumstances. Try to gain mental equilibrium. Do not think of the coronation and its attendant disappointment to you. Try to be selfless for my sake and follow my words. The same enthusiasm which was in your mind when you knew that I was to be crowned should be in your heart, since I am doing only what is right and what is rewarding for me. See to it that she is pleased, Kaikeyi, my young mother, who wishes to avert the coronation. She should have no doubts as to my decision to obey her commands. She must be assured that her wishes will come true. I have never displeased any of my mothers or my father, and I do not propose to do so now. Anyway, that gives you a little taste of the book, a little reminder. It's been 40-some years since I read it, so I was really enjoying reading that earlier today. So there's many wonderful events that take place through the whole book. Two that I'll mention. One is for Jatayu. Now Jatayu, he is an elderly vulture. Yeah, vulture. A bird that eats dead flesh. But he's also a devotee somehow. So he was there when Ravana was kidnapping Sita. And Ravana was taking her away in the air. And so Jatayu was thinking, what can I do? How can I save her? And even though he was old and practically speaking invalid, still he attacked Ravana in the air. And he even bit off one of Ravana's arms. Of course, Ravana had the benediction that if he lost a head or an arm, another one would immediately grow back. But anyway, he was attacking fiercely like that. And then, of course, Ravana, after he lost the arm, he couldn't tolerate it anymore, and so he slew Jatayu. So here he is, right? We may think of ourselves as unqualified to perform any devotional service. Well, we're not buzzards eating dead flesh. But even Jatayu, he got the opportunity to render some wonderful service to the Lord. And Sita Devi told him, tell Ramachandra where I'm being taken. So Jatayu maintained his life that long until Ramachandra came along. And then he revealed to him that Sita has been kidnapped by the demon Ravana. And he's taking her across the sea. So Ramachandra had a clue where she was being taken. Then he sent Hanuman. Now Hanuman, of course, is a son of the wind god and very, very powerful. So he could fly. he was the advance party, so to speak. He flew over to Lanka to check out the scene to see what was going on, where is Sita, and so on. And he did find Sita Devi, and she gave him her ring to take back to Ram, to let him know that it was her. So then Hanuman then instead of simply just going back, they were chasing him. So you know how people do sometimes say, light the tail of the animals on fire. So Hanuman, he took this as a great opportunity, and he was running all over, practically flying all over Lanka and setting everything on fire with his tail, practically burning down the kingdom. So that's another real wonderful event. And then, so Ramachandra was going to leave from the southern part of India. And at that place, there's a beautiful, beautiful ancient temple. This is called Rama, what is it? Rameshwaram. Rameshwaram. If you ever have a chance to go there, please do. Beautiful, beautiful temple. And it's the place, it's built at the place from which Ramachandra left to cross the sea. And of course, what happened was Ramachandra, he called for the Lord of the ocean to come to him. And so the Lord of the ocean was thinking, it's an ordinary man, I don't need to go. So Ramachandra waited 3 days. And then after 3 days, he started looking at the sea with anger and boiling it. And all the inhabitants of the sea became very perturbed. And then the Lord of the sea, he came and begged forgiveness of the Lord and told him, yes, by all means, I'll grant you passage, whatever you like. So then we have the tale, the story of how the Ramachandra, with his army of monkeys, they started throwing boulders and mountaintops into the sea, and they floated. And this created a bridge that they crossed on. Now perhaps you've seen, there's photographs of that bridge. It's from satellites. They, of course, being the rascals that they are, they don't call it Ramachandra's bridge, they call it Adam's bridge. Have you seen? Look it up on Google it, Adam's bridge, and you'll see. And under the water you can see the outline of the bridge on the bottom. And then the rascal demons who are controlling this world, they started dredging. This is not maybe between 5 and 10 years ago. They were going to start dredging through that area so ships could pass. Although ships have passed there for a long time anyway, but they wanted to destroy the evidence of Ramachandra's bridge. That's the nature of this world. So, many, many wonderful pastimes of Ramachandra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the Ramaraj. So we need Ramaraj again, to such men of valor. Now we hear many people, they are waiting for a knight in shining armor. They'd like some hero to come.
What they're waiting for?
Huh?
They're waiting for
Okay. Many people recognize that things are very wrong in the world, and so they want a hero to come and save the day. On the other hand, there's people that are saying, there's nobody going to save us but ourselves. We have to save ourselves. That's incorrect. Because we have throughout the pages of the Srimad Bhagavatam the stories of the Vedic kings. In fact, in the 11th canto, it's stated that the history of the world has been told from the perspective of the Vedic kings. And it says that this history could also be told from the perspective of the Brahmanas, of the Vaishyas, or of the Sudras. But because the kings are so essential, so fundamentally important in civilization, the history is given from the perspective of the Vedic kings. So where are we going to find such kings, such men now? Where are they? In the early days of our movement, Prabhupada attracted such men. Many of my godbrothers, well, you couldn't say, I don't know, of course in America we never had this idea of kings, but they were very, very capable men who spontaneously, because of their ability, they took the role of temple president. And they were managing their temples in a very, very nice way. And Prabhupada was able to attract such men because he gave them freedom to act. He established that every temple would be independent and that the temple president would be able to act according to his own inspiration. Of course, if things got out of line, sometimes the devotees could correct them. And there were, in fact, some occasions where in New York temple, for example, things did get out of line. The temple president there married a woman who was supposed to be the heiress to the Toyota fortune. And that turned out to be false. And she was asking to be fed unmentionable things that we don't eat. And the devotees complied because she was the temple president's wife. But Prabhupada chastised them. Why are you doing this? Why didn't you come to me with a question? You should not follow blindly. So Prabhupada wanted to establish like this, that yes, the temple presidents would be autonomous. The GBC were supposed to basically help Prabhupada and do what he was doing. He was going from temple to temple, giving classes, enlivening the devotees, adjudicating any problems, and to inspire the devotees, make sure everybody was chanting their japa. I'll give you one anecdote about that. He went to there's a Berkeley temple, and the temple president, his name was Bhaktidas. So Prabhupada then asked, is everybody chanting your 16 rounds? And Bhaktidas, being an honest man, confessed, no, Prabhupada, I'm not. Said, you're not? And Bhaktidas said, well, I'm only sleeping 4 hours a day, Prabhupada. And Prabhupada said, then only sleep 2 hours a day, but chant your japa. Like that. So this is what Prabhupada was doing, and this is what he wanted his GBC assistants to do also. Anyway, back to Ramaraj. So, yeah, so unfortunately we don't see these men of ability attracted to our movement so much these days. Or if they are, they're not given freedom to act generally, which is unfortunate, because everything then becomes stifled. Anyway, we want to again see that Raj is established. And of course, this means Varnashram Dharma. Prabhupada considered Varnashram, the establishment of Varnashram Dharma, to be 50% of his work. But in the 50 years since Prabhupada has been with us, 45 years, there's no Varnashram Dharma. There's no Varna, what to speak. Okay, we have ashram, but we haven't Varna. So this is one thing that needs to be done. We need to order society. Prabhupada many times he said, without Varnashram culture, it's animal society. We need people to be properly situated and to be doing activity according to their nature. So this means what? 4 Varnas, and we all have a particular nature according to our guna and karma. The guna and karma is in this body, right? Well, we have the karma. The guna comes from our parents, according to the nature of our parents. And so the combination, Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita, according to the guna and karma, we have a particular nature or varna. So, how are we going to start varna? Prabhupada said, to start varnashram, both brahmana and kshatriya are required. A brahmana can't do it by himself. He's the person who thinks, what are we going to do? And the kshatriya is the can-do guy. He's the person who figures out how to do it. And both of them are required. Of course, along with the help of the other members of society. So, how are we going to get there from here? It's an important thing to consider. And generally, as I travel around and speak to the devotees, I ask them, why don't you figure out what your varna is and then start to act accordingly? Now, this is not too difficult. Oh, and it's not just for the men. Ladies also have varna, although some devotees argue against that. I'll just say a bit about that. The ladies' varna, like Sita Devi, right? She was the daughter of a king. So she had a Kshatriya nature, fiery temperament. She was also staunchly committed to upholding Dharma. So women, they have their nature, and if the rules of marriage are followed, there's pratiloma and aniloma. If the rules of marriage are followed, the man and woman should be of the same varna, of the same temperament, of the same background, and so on. And if they are, then they will be able to understand each other and have a compatible relationship and a happy marriage. So therefore, women, they have varna, and they should be matched up with a man of the similar varna, so that they can support him. In the 5th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Rishabhdeva is giving instructions to his son, Rishabhdeva Bharat. I think, huh?
King Nimi?
Huh?
King Nimi? Maybe Nimi. He was...
No, it's either Bharat Maharaj. Anyway, sorry, can't remember those details. It was stated that oh no, this is Maharaj Shatrugana, and his wife was Queen Barismati, and it's saying that by her feminine behavior, his wife gave him great inspiration, and this is true for men. Prabhupada writes that except for sannyasis and brahmanas, men need the support and the inspiration of a woman. And therefore, a woman of a, whatever her nature is, her varna, marries a man of a similar varna, and she gives him a lot of support and inspiration to continue to go out and slay the dragons, right? That's what we call it in America. You have that expression? So, all right, so we should all try to understand what is our varna, and it's not too difficult. And it's really, the answer to the question is, what do you like to do? That's all. What do you like to do? You like to work with things? Do you like to work with people? Do you like to work with ideas? Or maybe you like to work with things and people. So if you like to work with things, any kind of things, this is generally Shudra activity. Now, sometimes in ISKCON, we have a condescending idea of Shudra, which is a misplaced idea. Okay, for example, we just had a wonderful kirtan. Okay, musicians are generally considered from the Shudra category. Okay, who doesn't love a wonderful kirtan or wonderful music? We all love that, right? Or carpenters, they're from Shudra category, but we all want to have a well-built and secure house. So there's nothing derogatory, nothing demeaning about that varna. It's very necessary for society. And if we have it, we won't be happy unless we act that way. So I'll tell you a little anecdote I read one time. One lawyer, he was unhappy. He was a very successful lawyer, but he was unhappy being a lawyer. He didn't like. So he figured out, he was like almost 40. He figured out, okay, I'm going to do what I want to do. And he became a carpenter. And he was happy being a carpenter. Right? Very brave move, right? Because he probably lost all of his friends, his social circle, right? Lawyers and carpenters generally don't hang out together. Maybe his wife divorced him, who knows. But he was happy because he was doing what he loved to do. So in Varnashram culture, we all get to do what we love to do. We have the freedom, first of all, to figure out, what do I like to do? How many of you know what you like to do? Oh, come on. Is it true? Most people don't know. Most people don't have time to even think about it, right? Because they're too busy making money, right? What do I like to do? Well, maybe I know what I like to do, but I don't do it because it doesn't pay very well, or right? I can't figure out how to make money for it, so I do something else that I hate so that I can do what I love. That's not Varnashram culture. Varnashram culture, we get to do what we love. So, figure out your Varna, and then start to act on it. See, because maybe we can do it from the bottom up. What's they saying, right? That old movie. If you build it, they will come. If we build a society, maybe a Kshatriya will show up. Maybe. In any case, we should know so that as we move closer and closer to that eventuality, and we're in the process of doing that just now, as we move closer and closer to that eventuality, we'll be able to find our slot and fit right in. You know what I'm referring to, yeah? Lord Chaitanya's golden age is coming, right? So some of my astrologer friends, they have giving different dates for that, but basically they suggest that we're going to see that in the lifetime of you younger people. 2040 is kind of the date that they give. So another 18, 20 years, 16, 18, 20 years. And in that process, all of that society is going to go away somehow. That'll be interesting. So, if we're going to change the way we live, it takes a lot of preparation, and we should start now. Who's that doctor in Austria? Gert Wilder? Anybody seen that prediction? So he's making a prediction that as a result of the COVID vaccination, thousands and thousands of people are going to soon be hospitalized and dying. And he said, I'm willing to stake my professional reputation on this. This is coming and we have to prepare for it. And he said, we have to create a new way to live, because modern society is a house of cards, right? You take too many cards out and the whole thing collapses. So we want to be way ahead of the curve on this, right? You can be 5 years early, but not a day late. So we should get ready and understand Lord Chaitanya's golden era is not reflected in what we see out the window here, right? It's a whole different way of life, natural way of life that Krishna has given us. Growing our own food, etc., etc. So, in any case, we'd like to see a Ram Raj sooner or later. And those men will come. By their nature, they will act. Right now, in the present circumstances, they don't have the ability. Let's say they're constrained by modern society, and neither do they have generally the support of people, because we've been brainwashed to thinking that democracy is the best political system ever. Prabhupada called it demon crazy. Because why? You elect some fool, or you don't elect him and he gets in power anyway. And then he does what he wants, right? I think what I've read about Croatia is you've got probably a better situation here than other places. I don't know if you read about Ireland.
Better than Bosnia.
Huh?
Better than Bosnia and Serbia.
Okay. It's a relative world. My country is going to the dogs. My country is finished, right? It's very clear that Biden is not running the United States. The guy can't even say 2 sentences. So what's going on? And then there's, the main political opponent, Trump. They're trying to put him in jail on all kind of false charges. America is lost. And the world, for all practical purposes, is lost, right? Except for, right? You all got the card? The spiritual revolution. You got to take this seriously. Everybody should print your own cards. Ask people, we need the help of God. Please chant this. Please repeat this nice prayer every day. Okay?
No.
Who's going to take responsibility? Come on.
We already have cards.
You already have cards. Good. Okay, print 1 million of them. Now you have to get 1% of the people of Zagreb to chant the Mahamantra. Prabhupada said just 1% is enough to change everything. So what's your population? 12 million? 10 million?
1 million in Zagreb.
1 million.
Approximately.
Oh, that's easy then.
10,000.
You only need to get, how many? 1 million? Huh? 4 million.
Zagreb,
Yeah, Zagreb, 1 million. Okay, so 10% is 100,000, so 10% of that, you only need to get 10,000 people. Come on, easy. Especially if you give up prasadam with the mantra. Right? Give up cookies or sweets or something. That's your goal. Figure out your varna and 1% of your population chanting Hare Krishna every day. Right? People, as things get worse, and they will, people are going to be crying for help. They think that if we just elect some other fool, that he'll save us, but it won't work that way. So we have a lot of propaganda to make about Ram Raj and about the help of God. Anyway, I'm wandering on and on. Ram Raj, Shri Ram Ki Jai. We read, it's so wonderful, right? There's men like this. They have strength and ability, and they use it for protection. And so that's our natural inclination. So we want to create circumstances in which those men are inclined to take a leadership role. Okay. All right, I'll stop there. Any questions? Comments?
Last night you were speaking about austerity.
Speaking about what?
Austerity.
Austerity.
In
Yeah.
the process of devotion austerity. Lord Ramachandra, he immediately fulfilled the desire of his father, immediately, without any consideration. Can we connect, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, can we connect this action, as it is said in Bhagavad Gita, it is the austerity of the body, or... Jučer je Maharaj govorio o strogostima u 17. poglavlju Bhagavad Gita i onda je to spominjao strogosti tijela, strogosti govora, strogosti uma i tako dalje. I onda sam pitao, kada je Ramachandra prihvatio naredbu svog oca da ode u šumu, da li se to može povezati kao strogost tijela?
The Supreme Personality of Godhead does not do any austerity. He's the enjoyer. And I was reading today there, Ramachandra was saying, this will be an adventure for me. It's not going to be difficult. He's a very capable, even if you think of him as a human being, a very capable man. So, not a problem, but no, there's no austerity for the Supreme Lord.
But what we can learn from him, what could be...
What do we learn from him?
Yes, from this example.
From his example, we learn to follow Dharma. What is my duty? Now, duty, this thing is generally not well understood, because in the main Dharma Shastra, which is Manu Samhita, duty is given according to both Varna and Ashram. And so that's where we learn about our duty. What are our duties? In Mahabharata, there's maybe 1 page for the duties of Shudras, maybe 4 or 5 pages for the duties of Vaishyas. For Kshatriyas, there's chapters, several chapters, how to manage the kingdom. And then again, for Brahmanas, there's not a lot, some, but pages. But this is why, again, the king is so pivotal in terms of the functioning of society. He has many, many responsibilities. So all of us, we should understand our varna and our ashram and follow the dharma of that properly. This is yet to be established in our society. And maybe some brahmana will take it upon his shoulders to help enumerate that for all the varnas and so on. It's a big task. I've read Mahabharata with that in mind, and how to apply it to modern society, quite challenging. In any case, that's what we learn from Ramachandra, is Dharma. Okay.
Išao tvoj, hoćeš prevesti to što ću reći. Htio sam reći da kako je svojevremeno je Srina Svan rekao ovdje u Zagrebu da će u svijetu postati takva situacija, takav kaos, da ljudi će se naći u takvoj situaciji, neće znati šta se događa. Sve će biti naopačke. I onda, veli, jedino će Bhakte imati odgovor na tu situaciju i imat će rješenje. I zapravo da mi trebamo samo raditi na sebi i biti svjesni da se od nas očekuje da ljudima damo razumijevanje.
He told that many years ago,
Louder, please.
Sridhar Maharaj was here.
Sridhar Maharaj?
Sridhar Maharaj.
My godbrother.
Yes. He foretold that in the near future, the society will be a big mess, you know, and the only devotees that will have the solution for this mess. But at the same time, we have tried to develop our consciousness and help people in this.
Yeah. The problem is we live the same way as everybody else. And because of that, when there's a problem, some devotees think, oh, they're going to come to us for the solution. Why? We're doing the same thing they do. Right? We do not live our philosophy. Do you know that? Do you recognize that? This is what we need to do. Then we can show others how to live. Okay? Now, here's the situation. Most people, they're limited. Did I speak about this the other day? Vocabulary and worldview? Huh? Yes? Okay, I'll say it again. So, the tools with which we have to understand our reality are our vocabulary, the words in our vocabulary, and those not just the words, but then our worldview. Everywhere in the world, people are trained according to the same worldview of atheistic materialism. There's a big bang, everything coalesced, something crawled out of the swamp, and here we are, we're at the pinnacle of civilization. This is as good as it's ever going to get. That's what we're taught. Of course, there's competing worldviews given by religions and so on, but generally what people do, they try to, mesh them and come up with some solution. We have the advantage in that our scriptures are written in a spiritual language, which has words with concepts that have no comparison in the other languages of the world. Karma, Dharma, Jiva, Bhagavan, all the Sanskrit words. and they give us a worldview which is far superior. Our worldview allows us not only to, our worldview allows us to understand how this world is supposed to work and what the problems are. So we're, you know, there's like the mouse in the maze. He's going around, he just sees four big walls, and he's running around trying to find his cheese. But so that's like the common people of this world. They're trying to figure it out based on their mundane knowledge. But the devotees, they're like the laboratory technician who set up the maze of the mouse. They can look down from above and they know exactly where the mouse is supposed to go. So we're like that. But we're not acting, we're not understanding our philosophy well enough to present it to the public such that, so that we are giving solutions. Now, this is not an easy thing to do, because as we all know, trying to understand the philosophy of Krishna consciousness takes some time. I've wanted to write a book about the gunas for some time, and I'm puzzled by how am I going to make people understand the gunas. I've given at least a half a dozen lectures on it in universities, and everybody's like scratching their head. Very, very difficult subject. But the gunas allow us to explain human nature. Why are people doing what they're doing? And when you're acting in the mode of ignorance, you cannot have a good result. You cannot be successful. So we can understand that, but we have to come to the point where we can explain this in ways that they will say, oh yeah, you'd be a good person to listen to. Even if they don't, don't try to learn it themselves. If they would take us for advisors, that would be good. So we have to, some of us, somebody, some devotee has to endeavor to do this. Prabhupada, of course, he wrote to Gandhi, he wrote to the political leaders of his time. I don't know if any of us are doing that, but it's a good idea. In any case, if we're going to do this, yes, we need to live our philosophy, and that means establishing varnashram dharma. I can go on and on for that for days, but I think we hear Surya Vijayal out there. I thought I heard somebody out there saying Surya Vijayal. Anything else? I want to say, oh, you got something more? Go ahead. Oh, okay. I wanted to say it's been a very pleasant stay here in Zagreb. I like your city. It's, you know, compared to America, it's really peaceful here. And I'm thinking, maybe I'd like to live here. This is a nice place. What do you think? Can we have another temple? Should we have another temple here? Anyway, it's a big world. I just came from India, and I don't want to go back there ever again. It's very difficult. But Zagreb is nice. You're all fortunate. Okay, thank you very much for your association. Okay, wait, one more.
Describe duties for Shudra.
Duty for Shudra.
Because mostly here are Shudras.
Yeah, you do what you like. You find somebody to serve. Okay, here's my suggestion for everybody. If we want to change the world, of course, I wrote the book Spiritual Economics, and I advocate a gift economy. Okay, Why? Because Krishna is the owner of everything. Nothing is ours that we own that we're going to sell to somebody else. No. It's all Krishna's. So if I make something, then I offer it to the deities. Say I make a nice piece of furniture, I offer that to the deities, it becomes Krishna prasadam. And then what do? Like we do with all the other prasadam, we give it away. So my suggestion is that we all figure out our gift, what we like to do, and then find a way to give, not sell, not exchange, give the result of our efforts to others. Maybe you can only do a portion of that. You can't give it all away. Maybe you need to make some money, but to find a way to give to others. This will change your life, and if enough of us do it, it will change the world. Okay? All right, thank you very much for your association. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki jai. Rama Raj ki jai.
Jai.